Thank you for being here. And we are starting today. I mean, this is the wake-up session, so please don't fall asleep from the very morning. I wanted to talk about a very specific topic, which is, I mean, somewhere in the middle, because this is the first iteration of the GameCamp, which is famous in a gaming industry and the pure gaming and pure app industry. But right now, we join the forces to have in the room two different types of companies, right? So we call them hybrids. I don't know if everyone knows this naming. Hybrids are the companies that are using the web and app environments to do business, and of course pure players. We in Google usually divide all the businesses into those two different groups, right? So, and this is the first iteration where we want to join forces and to share knowledge how we approach business right now. Because I believe, and we believe in Google as well, I mean, especially in our team, when Mariusz and I are working, that this very next 12 months, maybe 15 months, will be critical for developing a new way of doing business because of apps. And this is not the apps and web, so hybrid environment basically. So, and also this is should be probably interesting for so-called pure players, I mean gaming, that probably also web environment is and will be as well critical. And I did a short exercise with Gemini, and I said, okay, please describe, I described, okay, in the room there will be pure players and there will be hybrids and hybrid clients, and he or it drew this kind of picture. I said, okay, this is a hybrid and pure player, right? Also, I asked, how can we describe the companies like pure players and hybrid clients, and how Gemini is perceived you guys and us probably. So basically, this is very interesting, but this is like the first iteration of this kind of event. Hopefully, those pictures and those friendly animals are you, right? And of course, us. But having said that, going down to the business, first of all, I wanted to say one thing about the things the situation that we are right now, just for the sake of the discussion, the further discussion. We have right now, I can say, the critical times right now, because everything has changed because of of course, cross-device and multi-screen environment that we have, situation we have on the market. This is maybe obvious for vast majority of you, but sometimes if we are locked in our business, I mean pure business, pure player business, or hybrid, sometimes we are forgetting about the situation we have. So this is not like the simple selling in the internet. It's like it's looking and chasing customers between devices. And also, even for pure players, this is also the case. We are starting to see the situation where also pure players, like gaming industry even, has to think about chasing future clients, future customers within the whole internet, not only within this pool of users focusing on apps. That's why I wanted to talk about this, how we can join forces between knowledge that have the hybrid businesses and pure player businesses. We know that the apps are game changers right now for the traditional businesses. I'm working with the retail, mostly retail and more traditional businesses like e-commerces, marketplaces, you name it, in whole C region, and they are investing heavily in apps right now. So maybe if you are in a gaming industry, you are a little bit ahead of the others. That's why I'm always telling the retailers and e-commerce businesses that they should look at what the gaming industry is doing, because you are much more ahead of the rest. but still they are much ahead of the businesses in terms of the web businesses and everything connected with web, where, for example, Google and other auction platform companies are also very much ahead of the pure players, right? We know why people are choosing apps, and we are seeing this very heavily, and we see it very clearly that without the app in the regular business, there will be the companies will be losing potential and competitive advantage. That's totally obvious. Not everyone understands that still, but next 12 months probably this will be this will be obvious. But in the same time, so-called pure players, I mean gaming industry, for example, or other app companies, are also struggling. Why? You know this probably perfectly because we are talking on the game camps all the time about it, and you know that at least, I mean, on average, 1% of whole players in gaming are really paying, right? So we all have to fight over this 1% to really make ends meet if we are talking about the businesses, right? And if we are talking about the whole audience that we can get, we are calling it a pool of users, and I took this naming from the gaming industry. We know that there is a certain limited amount of users that we can get to really convince a user to download the app. And that's why if we want to really move forward with that businesses and we get more and more users for the reasonable amount of money, we have to go wider. Why? Because people, users, and we in the internet are also beyond the apps. We are very often not considering even downloading the app, because maybe we are not even aware that this app or gaming, or if we won't even play a game, right? So that's why even the pure player has to think about a wider audience that is beyond the app business, right? And joining forces between the knowledge between hybrid and pure players is right now critical. And what I wanted to say is that having that in mind, that this path to the purchase or to download is much more complicated right now, because most of us, we are not fully aware where we do research and where we do purchases. For example, one of the biggest retailer or marketplace in Poland, they did some kind of research and asked their customers, okay, where you are doing the research and when you are finishing the purchase. Most of the clients wasn't perfectly sure where they did the final click checkout button, right? Whether this was on app or whether this was on the desktop. So that's why it doesn't really matter where the customers or future customers are. It's the matter, okay, how we can identify the valuable customers and then get them either download the app or purchase anywhere, right? So we have to be anywhere. I'm calling this something, the strategy calling locking down the users or locking down the business. Why? Because when we say, okay, I think I perceive myself, my business as a pure player. I am a gaming. I'm a mobile game, right? Or I am focusing only on app because my business is totally focused on app. But it's locking down the business only to the app, and the rest is totally closed for us, right? So what we have to do, we have to be much more open right now if we have in mind that having an app or using an app and using a desktop or other screens are totally in the sphere of not being aware what I am doing as a customer, right? I am just using a lot of screens to do some kind of goal that I am planning to do, right? Purchase or play or anything like that. So locking down is, thinking as I am a pure player or I am a hybrid is not very safe right now, and it will be dangerous in quotas for the business, because right now would be great or would be useful to think as all businesses are right now hybrid, right? Because we are not locking down the business, we are using the potential of the whole internet and even beyond to grab the valuable users, right? And then we can say, okay, we are going out of the pool of users that we are able to grab, those direct, straightforward perspective users that will eventually become clients, right? We have this is a limited pool of users, and we can get another pools. We can swim in another pools of users that are potentially as well valuable for our business. And we believe that being a hybrid brings a lot of bigger potential, and I will show you in a minute why. First of all, we have much more tools for hybrids and much more opportunities for hybrids than if you are only web or only app player. This is not only for within the Google ecosystem. It's not the case. Usually, it's for all auction media and all marketing platforms that if you are able to run business on app in web, you have much more opportunities to grab users, usually for the reasonable price. So having said that, this is the first big benefit for the hybrids. The second thing is, when we are pure players, because I wanted to divide this, talk to hybrids and talk to pure players as well in a benefit language. Probably you are aware as well, if we are locking a user in our app, the user downloaded the app, and he or she doesn't use it, right? So we wanted to activate it usually via some kind of push notifications. But what happens if they are not allowing notifications, right? And this is the case where more than half of the whole users, usually they are not allowing notifications. Probably this is my case, for example. Think of it as how many apps you are allowing to send notifications. And if they are much more, let's say, pushy, we are then eager to cancel the allowance for notifications, right? If we are hybrid, on the other hand, and if we are also allowing ourselves to do business in web, we have much more opportunities to grab the users that are not active. This is one. They uninstall the app, and they looking for some similar services or similar entertainment, and they canceled or stop using our app, and they don't want to hear about us in the moment, right? So we have to convince them again. So if we are hybrid, we have much more opportunities to really much more tools to get them back, to return them on the track with us. And having said that, if we are focusing much more on the business side, when we talk about the user's behavior and opportunities, if we talked about the business side of this whole discussion, we are seeing that within the C region and also beyond that, a lot of hybrids clients, they are closing to having at least half of their revenue coming from an app. And they wanted to even extend this number, right? Even be an app-centric business. But without the web presence, it will be very, very hard to achieve. That's why we conducting a lot of research to convince clients to be as well in the same time in the web, present on the web, and present in the app ecosystem. Why? Because this is a very good revenue machine when we are operating within those two ecosystems. We see that whenever you are investing more in the web and you have in the same app, so you have a connection between your web operations, like marketing operations, so you are driving traffic from the web. And then you have in the same app, you have opportunity to grab a user, whether this is a mobile web or an app, and you are not losing any potential that you can get from the ecosystem. And this is a very simple example of one of my customers. I did this. I just got this number from some account. We see clearly, and this is like a repetitive story, that if we have web presence and we are driving traffic on the web, and we have an app, we see a much more better results together. If we don't have this situation, we are just losing a lot of potential, right? So if you are a pure player even, and you have a mobile game, it doesn't mean that you cannot have a web that is okay. Would be ideal to also be able to play on a desktop, in this game, but also being operational. I mean, possible to explain what is game about. Being present in the web is still the same, very similar situation to get these benefits from this hybrid approach. And also, I did this research with one of the teams in Google. We saw those numbers don't attach to the numbers because I had to really make it indexed. But if we invest in web or app only, we are losing a potential, and this is the totally repetitive scenario. And what I wanted to say by that, if we are starting to create this perpetuum mobile, so-called perpetuum mobile strategy, we can really win the ecosystem. Why? Because we have much more sources to get even more users from potential users from the internet. Why I'm saying that? Because whenever you are grabbing, this is the good example. Whenever you are conducting a very wide web campaign, and you have in the same time you have deep links that are directing your users whenever they have an app to your app, there is much more chance for them to convert than in the web only. So we are using the potential of the web ecosystem to drive traffic to the app, and those combined together are creating this additional value. And that's why what we are translating very often right now and explaining to our biggest customers is that whenever you are using this strategy, I mean this perpetuum mobile strategy, you have much more sources or resources for another bigger campaign and even wider campaign in the web. Can be more risky campaigns because we have resources to conduct tests, and then we can get more and more valuable users here. Of course, if you are only web right now, there is also the strategy that we see very often, that having a web and having an app in the same time can create this loyalty strategy as well, because those two ecosystems are bringing the additional value. But in the same time, we know that our, for example, Google campaigns are very much automated, like UAC or right now AC, right? App campaigns or PMAX campaigns are very much automated. So we can assume that if we have web and app ecosystem, and if we really implement this perpetuum mobile strategy, we are fine. But this is not everything that we should do, because the AI won't do one thing. And this is one of the most important things that we have to do as marketers right now. We have to assess value of our users. And this is a critical factor right now. Except of creating a perfect creatives, we have to assess value. What does it mean, value? Value means, okay, how much money I can spend to acquire a certain user from the certain a bucket of customers, right? From the certain segment. Why? Because if we are looking, and if we look at this simplified formula, who really win the auction, so who is visible, who gets the users from the pool of users, or who gets the most valuable users, it really depends from the quality of our campaign, which mean creatives, which are responsible for like 70 even % of the success, and the bids, right? So how much money we can really spend. So assessing the value of the users is a critical factor, and this AI won't do for us, okay? So if we are starting to think strategically about, okay, how much money I can spend on certain users, we can, of course, choose the strategy we want. We can simplify it, right? But if we go further and further, and we eventually go beyond this point, like lifetime value, and I know that lifetime value is a very regular metric for the pure players right now, but not always treated, fairly. Why? Because we are not very often dividing the certain quality or certain kind of customers into buckets. And lifetime value is a metric that hates averages. We cannot say that we have lifetime value average within our company. This creates the situation where we undervalue very much the most valuable customers and overestimated and overvalue those that won't probably pay anything to us. But having said that, if we want to really assess the value, we have to have a good measurement set. Good measurement strategy. And there are a lot of friction points within this whole calculation and whole formula. And usually when we have a web and app, we starting to have challenges and problems within a good calculation, good metrics calculation, or anything like proper metrics at least, right? I know that before the AI era, when we even were struggling with the proper numbers and proper metrics, this still worked, right? Because we were like relying on the experience, we were relying on some previous history metrics, you name it, right? If we are talking right now and we want to hire AI to do the most work for us in terms of acquiring valuable users, this mess won't work. Why? Because AI demands a perfect measurement and perfect numbers and metrics. Why? Because this is very often we are saying a crap in, crap out. And even if the AI has the bad numbers, it can do more harm than good, right? If the system works on the bad metrics or bad numbers. That's why what we have to do, first of all, what we have to do for our businesses, if we are thinking about hybrid, and I believe all of us should think that about your businesses as hybrid business eventually to win this competition. First of all, what we are always looking at is fixing the plumbing. We call it fixing the plumbing. So fixing the low-hanging fruits. So deep links are this is the biggest challenge ever and the easiest one. This is the lowest hanging fruit. Fix the deep links, And in the same time, I mean, we are doing the audits for most of our customers on monthly or weekly basis even, automatically, and we still see, and every time we see that there is a problem with the good proper deep links. And deep links are the very much source of everything, because the system that if you have web and app, and the system doesn't have the possibility to send the user to the proper place in an app, like for example with the different links or different deep links or deep links alone, we are losing, and we are losing potential from the campaign, or we are losing the whole possibility to grabbing the user. So this is the lowest hanging fruit, the deep links. The second thing is we wanted to get an answers for more and more questions, because if we wanted to value users, right? We have the deep link set. Okay, so we have everything worked right now. We have a conversion tracking, etc. But now we wanted to really understand how we should assess the value of the certain segments of the users, right? So we have to create this so-called one source of truth about the data, about the users. And this is the biggest challenge right now, because usually we have a lot of different systems, right? A lot of different services, and we have a lot of different tools for attribution, for analytics, for measurement stuff. And usually it's very useful to treat analytics or as well in the same time cloud as the one source of truth about the users, right? And if we do that, and if we decide to treat the Google Analytics as the one source of truth, we have a lot of additional benefits that really serves us in this world of privacy and lack of data and anything else that is also connected with data struggling like with an iOS, right? Because Google Analytics can really fill out the black holes in this whole picture with the good and proper modeling of the data, and this works pretty good. And in the same time, we can also hire additional very useful features that also Google Analytics have, and without those, in this privacy and lack of data and lack of cookies world, probably it won't be possible to assess value. That's why we need to have additional signals from Google about the users. We have to have the first-party data also, and additional feeding the system with additional data, whatever we can, to have this at least we closing to this real picture. What's this user, who this user is, and what is the potential value of this user. And then of course, if we have this, we can use much more features. When we use Google Analytics as this one source of truth, we can use much more features to really get the valuable users back and looking for similar ones. To really fulfill the whole strategy of acquisition, and for example, this is also the additional benefit when we want to really starting to bid efficiently for the valuable users. When we assess the value, we can also do a lot of positive things about the bidding, not only within our like Google Ads tool, but also using this one source of truth that gets all the data, and based on those all data, set the bidding that is closer to reality, right? Closest to reality. And the same thing is like with the cross-device, right? If we have a web and app, and people are migrating, as we said in the beginning, between the screens, we can get the users that were on the web and then move to the app, and vice versa, right? So we can do it almost everything with the Google Analytics, but we have to focus on the analytics as the one source of truth. I mean, main source of truth in terms of the users. Okay, but in the same time, one thing is maybe less positive. I conducted more than 25 audits, web and app tracking audits for our biggest customers within the C region, and we see a constant the same problems, main issues with the measurement, and those are usually connected with a bad or inconsistent event naming and event tracking between web and app. Usually, those platforms are treated separately, and the different teams are taking care of the app and the web, and that's why we are missing information. So when the users is traveling between the platforms, we are losing information about what's happening with the user, who he is or who she is, where did she or he came from, etc. You name it. So we cannot assess value, right? So we have everything. We have Google Analytics on set, right? We have everything there. We have AI, but because of those problems, because of not having user ID implemented, I mean identification of the same user on an app on web, we cannot really assess the value. So we are nowhere really. Right? We have all the tools, but because of the bad implementation, we are losing the potential. And AI cannot say anything, cannot do a really good thing for us, right? So this is the one very important thing to notice. We should focus on first-party data based on user ID, measurement protocol, so feeding the system from the outside. I mean, any information that can you get about the user from your CRM system, from the I don't know your like customer center or customer care center or from anywhere else should be fed to the Google Analytics, and then upon that, this system will eventually brings you additional advantage against competition, because really most of the companies right now, they have a bad implementation, so they cannot really use a proper valuation. That's why they cannot really use AI and those tools that we use for a proper user acquisition. That's it. If you are the first to fix the plumbing, to fix those main issues here, you are the first to get the proper strategy on the market. And the last but not least, one thing that we are seeing constantly, I'm finishing. One thing that we see constantly, companies have a different separate organizations for web and app. So if you are planning to implement or creating an app or creating a web environment because you are a pure player, please consider to being done and governed and developed as within one team. Why? Because we see that we have a different budget, different KPIs, and different teams for web and app, and then this creates a huge mess because there is an internal competition, and we cannot do anything I said before to make and create this competitive advantage if we have a separate team for different environments. If we have this all set, we can focus, and this is my last sentence, we can focus on one thing that is most important right now. Do real marketing. Guys, because being creative is the most important thing right now in the AI era. So who consider themselves here as a marketeer? Not many. You know what? I thought I'm marketing. No. For the last 20 years, I was interface manager, right? I wanted to stop that. And this AI can really let me do my job and being, again, creative, right? Because, chasing after the interfaces and trying to really trick the system is not marketing, right? We can start to be, if we have this all done, we can start to be creative again, like in 70s, right? We can be starting to, develop ourselves and be starting to be marketers again, right? And so having said that, after all, we are in C, right? So we can make everything works for us. Okay, we are better than the rest of the world usually. So make this automation and AI and technology working for us, right? Here, and let's be better than the others. Thank you so much, and.
Thank you, Przemek. Thank you for the great presentation. We have actually quite a few questions. What is the coverage of user ID across events sent to GA4? Is it something 100% or like depends on the traffic? Like how?
I'm assuming the coverage of user ID across events. Because if the implementation is set properly, it should be like the coverage should be 100%. For the session, right, for the user. But when you have multiple ad channels, it depends. Okay, how do you really implement the user ID? Because it's a matter usually of the implementation. If we are forcing or we are convincing a user to log in and get the user ID, and we are not losing a track, because usually we are losing the track about the user ID, and then we know nothing. But usually when the implementation is correct, it should be 100%, 99, okay? Because we never have 100%. But if we are talking about the coverage right now, as a whole, it's like 30-40%. Because I also assume that this was the question. Another layer, 40-50% of users that are registering or having a user ID, and this is a pretty good amount to assess or create the model for the rest, right?
How do you attribute web to app users when you have multiple ad channels? How to track and optimize web to app campaigns on multiple ad channels?
Channels. I'm treating the channel as a different because in Google we are treating channels as there are different channels like YouTube, right? Mm-hmm. So ecosystem have different channels, and in Google this is a pretty simple story. We have a deep links and different deep links, and this should be it usually. Of course, if we have an iOS system, we have to have additional features like tags, like gbrate, for example. I don't know if you heard about the gbrate. And this is a pretty easy story. Right now also I've heard that Facebook will let us also track the UTM, add UTM tags for tracking users. So should be pretty easy if we are fulfilling deep links and we are adding the additional tags like gbrate, and we are using UTMs. Those three figures, and this should be pretty
and in
easy.
Sandbox,
yes?
Actually there will be much stronger support for web to app, and I will talk about that at the end.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, how to send data from offline to single source of truth like Google Analytics?
Measurement protocol, it is set, or you can import data. Measurement protocol is a simple solution, HTTP solution, and you can on the straightforward directly. Constantly you can send the information from the outside, even offline shop, you can send the information to Google Analytics.
Regarding GA4 events bidding, what if those automated do not want to work? Like, are there any plans to introduce a proper troubleshooting suite?
Of course, there is everything in plan. I cannot really answer this properly.
Does Google Analytics work for measurement of web games?
Yes, of course. Yeah, it works because it is based on the events. So basically, you can track anything you want. Web games are even easier probably to track than than gaming, the games, the mobile games, I can say.
Is GA4 still using conversion modeling? And from your experience, what is the total conversion matching like back office?
I mean, of course, we are modeling conversions because usually we are modeling what the clients are doing within the app or web when they are not consent for giving the data. So, but it's still like 95% of accuracy because if not, the data won't show up in Google Analytics, right? The system will block the.
Do we still need MMP?
Sure, of course, yes, because MMPs are the additional, because I was focusing on the one source of truth, which is Google Analytics, but usually MMPs they are using for a different purposes usually, right?
They are used as the input, yeah.
As an input, exactly, as an additional checkup, as the attribution tool. So definitely yes, and we are encouraging to use MMPs as well, and I'm very much happy that if I'm just hearing that my client is using MMP as well, we can do the parallel checkup.
And the last one, will there be any UI changes coming to GA4? The current one is not very easy.
You know what? I was crying for a year when it was changed. But right now, believe me, it can be easy because I created a custom reports for myself, and usually I'm thinking, and this is my last sentence. I'm thinking that we should look at the Google Analytics as rare as possible. Okay. So if I'm creating and looking at the Google Analytics, I'm creating a custom reports, focusing on the most important metrics and KPIs, and get rid of the rest. I'm not keen to look into any interfaces, right? So I am looking at the numbers and then going forward to being creative. Okay, so there will be also other changes because we have in our roadmap. But it won't be big. It won't be like game changers, right?
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Przemek.
so much.
Thank you.